Sure. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, so what we did in the last session was we went through the overview and the environment setup. We talked about what is B2B commerce. So ideally, what that means is B2B is mostly related to large volume of purchases which are done business to business. Like for example, as we discussed, some company who wants car services so they can take the Uber as a service and pay them. So that services are called B2B commerce services, that kind of which are happening between business to business. Main focus here would be the large volume. But other than that, there are additional features that we talked about, which is the pricing is contractual. Basically, it may vary from account to account depending on how much volume they have, or how much they purchase, or what kind of customer they are, and segment of the customer, and so many other things. Then we talked about bulk buying, quick tendering, access controls. So basically, not everyone can see everything, that kind of thing. And at times, one guy like a buyer manager, they can access entire cart of that particular account. So that kind of thing. Then that is also called sharing the shopping cart. Then customization on the portal, that should be easy. Then you will have finally, ultimately what you do is you create a code that will be sent to the ERP system primarily. Then we talked about some digital payment options which should be available like credit card and so on. And then product information, how do you manage that? So this is all what B2B commerce entails. Um, so,
Yeah.
so what's there in Salesforce for supporting all this, right? So we talked about some of the how we can personalize the customer journey. So for each account, how you can see, Salesforce, how Salesforce allows you to see the different views. So some product, one customer can see, the other can't. So those kind of personalization, or the entire site personalization itself on the UI front. So those are all configurable. So those kind of things it provides. Then you can have catalog and product management, which you can see, and as soon as you make the changes, they are reflected on the front end. And there are services available for integration. Then you can leverage CMS. We will talk about a little on maybe day three on this one, but it's basically like where do you put the content, or share the content across. So that's what you can do. Then there are some localization capabilities. For example, market in US probably would be different than market in India or Europe, so that you can have different localization things. So based on locale, you can change or the location, you can change the page variation, so those kind of things. So by default, it's already mobile ready. Then report dashboards, which is out of box Salesforce, and declarative customization. So these are all things that make the B2B commerce successful for Salesforce. So most of the components you will also find are out of box with Salesforce provides, and you can customize on top of it as you wish. I think this is already we talked about. So how do we do this is uh, you will have B2B, B2C commerce on top. It will be connected to order management. So order management is a separate module of Salesforce. It's again a different topic. But what that does is basically you once you created the card, you submitted it, right? You checked out. But then what happens to that order? So you created an order. So who is going to process it? So that part is order management. Most of the customers I have seen, they don't use Salesforce for order management because most of the things happen in ERP side of things, and that's where other all people use it. And you will have Sales Cloud, Service Cloud, which are already offering if you already have. Then for experience changes on the UI, you will have experience builder and CMS. So you will make use of that to expose the UI to the or the front end to the customer. Then you obviously have services which are leveraging this, which are related to like for card checkout pricing code. ultimately everything is on the platform, which is Lightning platform, and it has how to handle the data, which is common if you use either Sales Cloud, Service Cloud, or whatever cloud you want on Salesforce. It will be all the same. You will have App Exchange products that you can use. So those are things you will have. So this is all we talked about. We created a sandbox org. I hope you already have it now. We enabled the digital experiences. What is digital experience? Is basically, enabling a community or site.
Commerce option.
No, that's
Like,
a commerce is third one. But first you need to enable the sites, right? So basically it enables you to create, gives you an option of creating a site or the portal, right? Like Experience
yes,
Cloud.
yes.
That's what it does, enabling the digital experience. Then enabling the commerce, this will enable all the commerce app and so on. Launching the work, then I hope that launch successfully finally. And then we went through the app and then saw different options in the app and so on. And we also reviewed the store that I showed you. That will be replicating in the training. So the training, basically what we will do is, if possible, so what we will do is we will go two ways. One is the store that I have put it in the steps, right? Like in this handbook, like what needs to be done and so on. But that's something you can do in the training here itself. If you don't want to do it, we can actually go through the steps and what we are doing in that. And then if you want, you can play it around here or at your free time. But what I would also like you to do is to, I have put up an exercise here which is quite similar to this, but there's this MX space store that I have created. So I have given you the guest access, so you can go through and see what you can do. But I will provide you, the let's say the product images and so on that I have put up. So that, and I would suggest you to create your own store with this capability, which is similar to that one. And I think that will give you, full hands-on. There are a few certification questions that I figured, where you will find it, then that will talk about. Okay, so that was just the day one. I think I hope you got it refreshed in your mind. So let's start with today's thing. So what are we going to discuss today is, talk a little bit on the data model, on how the store's data model is characterized. This is important because if you are doing, some code customization or even going for the admin, you should know, what object is where and so on. We will talk about the personas. Personas are like, different type of users that are going to access the system, like the buyer manager and so on, and how do we set up those kind of things. Then we'll talk about how do we do the StoreFront deployment, which is basically mostly hands-on thing. So this is the agenda for today. So what are the entities? So when we say entities, the objects, right? Some of them would be related to the store itself. So these are the objects basically in Salesforce. When we say object in Salesforce, I assume you have a little bit of knowledge, but just to give you a refresher, object means is it's like a table in a database, right? So that's what it means. It will have fields and so on. So the basic objects you will have store, which stores basically the store information, like what is the name of the store and so on. And you will have account. Account is a very common entity in Salesforce. So basically, you will have to have an account to whom you are selling, right? Who is the buyer account? So and then you will have a buyer. Buyer is actually a contact. So one account can have many contacts, right? So basically you can have multiple buyers which are associated to a particular account who are purchasing that. So you need to enable those settings. And now we will see how. Buyer group. So you could have multiple buyer groups under the account. What that means is, let's say there is an account, right? United Coffee. So in that, there could be multiple buyer groups. One is a premium buyer group. One is a, maybe gold buyer group or regular buyer group. So one is premium and one is regular buyer group, let's say. Now that regular buyer group will have a few list of accounts and premium will have a different list of accounts. So how we are doing the segregation now you can understand. Like based on buyer group, we can have different list of accounts under each of that buyer group, and based on that you can associate the particular products or price books or so on. So that's what you can do. Contact point
Like,
address.
do you have any architecture for this account buyer,
Yeah.
buyer group?
Yeah, I will go through that one as well, but just
Okay, okay,
I'm just
okay.
doing a
Yeah,
high
then like,
level right now.
sure, sure. Yeah.
Yeah, then there is a contact point address. What is contact point address? Is like, every contact will have a address to which they want to ship to or the bill to generally. So the ship to bill to are called contact point address. Then external account. External account is, you may have some relation with some other account as well. That's what is called external account in this case. We will see how it is used. So these are primarily related to the buyer group or store. So these are the entities related to the main things. Now we go to the what they are purchasing, right? So there you will get to the product categories. Categories are the group of product. Then catalog is sharing it on the UI. You need a grouping as well. Like the menu items and so on. So that's what it's called catalog. So catalog will have categories and categories will have product sort of hierarchy. Then you will have product category media where you can put the images and so on. Then order something. So finally the order is getting created out of it. And then we will talk about CMS a little. So these are product related things. Then pricing. So for pricing you will have price books. Then cart. Cart is its object name is web cart. So web cart is basically whenever you are adding the product, you continue add to the cart, so it's like that. And then you will have entitlement. So entitlement is the thing which basically it tells you what you can purchase from the store, right? So what products are visible on that thing on that particular for that particular user is determined by this entitlement. So visibility of the product or pricing also, if you don't want to show the pricing to a particular account or the user, you can use this entitlement. And then payment groups, payment methods. So payment method, like we will have multiple methods, credit card and so on, those things. Wish list. So wish list is like you can save a particular list of products as a wish list, and then you can take it to the cart back and easily share easily buy it later. So you don't want to buy it now, you want to buy it later. So that's where you create a wish list. And finally, we'll talk about a little bit of promotion, which is like discounts and so on. So these are all high level entities that we will be talking about a little. Let's go a little deeper into that, right? So we talked about B2B store, right? So sales store interface. So that's where the store will have all the store interface. For example, what are the like we talked about, right? The catalog. What all menu items are there? What all things you want to show? For example, a particular a coffee-based catalog may have a machine as a catalog. In that machine, you could have coffee machine or some other type of machines. So those are accessories, right? So those are called catalog. And in the catalog, you will have different products. So it's basically a grouping of things, so that which makes looking into things very easy, navigating to the store very easy. Buyer group, like I talked about, it's like a grouping of accounts. You could have premium or regular buyer groups. So based on now each of these buyer groups will be associated to different type of maybe entitlement policies and so on, so that you can show or view only specific kind of products there. Then we will talk about the buyer group price book, right? So buyer group will have associated price book also. So what that means is, you can associate a particular price book to regular customer and different price book to a different, let's say, premium customer. So VIP customers get a different list of product with different pricing, and the regular get a different one. So that's what you can do with the achieve with that. Then we have the search capabilities in B2B. It's very important to have faster search. So it also does the Salesforce provides a searching capability where we can basically index those things. So you will have a search style there where you can click make it index immediately. So whenever you are adding a product or catalog, they are not immediately reflected on the site. You need to build this index, and then only it will be appear. Then it only will appear. Then we have experience side. This is not an object. It's basically the web store, the UI, the experience cloud. Then we have cart, wish list, order and order complete. This is all high level the sales store is about.
Yeah, like there's a or like a sales store interface. What it is actually sales store interface?
It's basically telling that what all sales store has. So basically the UI of the sales store. So when you go to the tab of store,
Storefront. You mean to say site? You mean to say site?
not the site. It's basically on the Salesforce internal. So when you go to the store, so that's where you will see the B2B store. So that means basically this one, this store tab object. This
Yeah,
one.
this is store tab app.
Yeah, so this is what he's talking about, the store interface.
Okay, got it.
Right. So it will have all these things like experience site also is a part of store.
Yes, definitely. Yes.
Okay. So like we discussed on the account, buyer group, and entitlement. So an account, we need to enable it as a buyer account so that it can participate in the commerce activities. Then buyer group. So buyer group, like we discussed, we can have a different set of account under the different buyer group like premium or regular. Then we have entitlement. Entitlement enables you to set the product view, whether you want to view the product pricing. So you can have different policies and associated to this particular buyer group. Every buyer group will have a can have a different price book. So like regular can buy a different with a different price than the premium, and all of these are stores related to store. And obviously we will have the entitlements are on the product and price. If you see the data model
Got
wise,
it. Through entitlement policy, we can do like a who can view the products, who can view the price, who can add the. It is something like we are giving access to the particular buyer group, right? By using entitlement policy.
that's right. Yeah.
Okay.
So in Salesforce, if you want to see how the data model is stored, this is how it is. So you will have a store object, right? Which is like I said, it's a kind of a table. So in this, we will have basic things like, but important ones are store name, support country, support languages, and pricing strategy, and so on. Now the store will have relation to store catalog. So store has a catalog. Every store has a catalog, right? And one store can have one catalog only, but the same catalog can be associated to multiple stores. So no, sorry, one catalog cannot be stored to multiple stores. We will see how it is associated, but one store can have one catalog only at a time. Why, if you ask, then let's say you create a store. So the catalog is generally, you can assume it as a menu item, right? So you cannot have two main menu item where you are showing the category. So that's why one store cannot have more than one catalog. So that's how it is. And then we have store buyer group. There is a buyer group that you need to associate to this particular store. So these are the buyer group like premium and all that. So you can associate multiple buyer groups to a store. And each of these buyer groups will have associated to the account. So that's how it is. And then you have store price groups, and then promotion segment. This is for promote. But yeah, this is basically the high level of the store data model. Now when we go to the account buyer group data model, so like I said, so account you need to enable buyer account for that. So buyer account by default is not enabled. You need to put to do some small customization. Not customization actually, it's a drag and drop thing. So that's what you need to do. Basically, the buyer account related object you need to put it on the there is an out of box component that you need to put on the layout. So that's how the buyer account will come into picture. The other thing we talked about was buyer groups, right? So one buyer group is basically a grouping of accounts. And it is handled with a buyer group member. So there is also a guest buyer profile. We talked about guest meaning, any anonymous user.
Non-authenticated user. Yeah.
No, it means you don't have access to the site, you don't have a username, but you still want to browse. Right, so that's generally in B2B does not happen because random people cannot go and see the go to the site directly. But you can have the option is there that you can enable the guest users as well. Now, yeah, so the buyer group and buyer group, like we said, they are related to the promotion segment and buyer group price book. So every buyer group can have a different price book. Then entitlement policy, you can have different policy depending on that particular group. And obviously we have the store buyer group. So these are all relations between account buyer group, account and buyer group. High level, what you need to remember is one account will have multiple buyer accounts, and the buyer groups are associated to the different price groups, multiple price group, and they will have one store can have multiple buyer groups. So this is how this data model of account and buyer group is there. Now coming on to the product, so we have this B2B store. And the store catalog, like we said, it's kind of a menu item where you can, like, I don't know, you might have seen in Amazon, right? In Amazon, when you browse through use the first top, it shows, groceries, then it shows ads and
Got
reviews.
it. The category navigation, right?
Yeah, so that's what is called the catalog. So this is basically the product catalog. And in product catalog, you will have categories. Category is associated with the product category product. It's the NPM object, and this is product. The product is the grouping of product makes a product category, and product category to make
You
the
will
group.
assign it to catalog. Yeah.
Yeah.
It is in part of the catalog only. Yes.
Yes, that's how it is. I think I need to. Can you join the second meeting? I think it is.
Sure.